I'm Matt Padlo. Welcome to my channel. This video is going to be for anybody who wants to build a chain, a conveyor belt, or a screen of any sort, or is just interested in welding and metal manufacturing. You will learn something and get a lot out of this video. So as you can see, I'm standing in a big conveyor screen that we are fabricating right now in our shop, and you do it individually. These chains, these links are all sold individually in, let's say, 20-foot lengths, all right? You can cut them to lengths that you desire. We actually had to put like 2 or 3 together and then cut like half of another one and link it up. You link the length together by this little clip right here. So you take the clip off, you pop the pins out, and then you can remove a link on the chain. We had these links of chain, like I just mentioned, that come in the boxes made. We rolled them out on the table. We needed 29 3/4 apart. So you measured, and I put a 1/2 inch bolt. Let me grab it. So I took one of these bolts, and it fit nice and tight inside of here. So I popped that in between there, and there wasn't much wiggle room. It fits nice and snug. So I tacked this bolt to the table. This slid over, and I made sure that these bolts were 29 3/4 apart on center to center. And I just did that along the table. It helped that this square sheet that is on top of the table is pretty square. So I got it pretty much square just off of the square sheet and measuring. When I did do the square, remember, if you watched my earlier videos, you get a squareness of something by measuring across and across. Okay, you get the idea. Go side to side, corner to corner. And that'll, if the measurements are the same, that means you're square. And since we're creating a chain that we want to travel fairly straight and not walk off the gears or spokes, you're going to want to make sure that it's relatively square, which it was. It was about 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch. And due to the size of this, it should be all right. That tolerance. All right, so now since we're done talking about the chain and how I lined the chain up in relation to each other, how did I keep the chain relatively straight? Because I know that I had point A to point B, but as you can see, we have crossbars that were popping in here that were all the same cut lengthwise. And we wanted to keep that fairly straight all the way up the line as well. So we used guide rails. These were the guide rails. We just put them on the table. We made sure that they were relatively straight due to the chain, our measurement with the 1/2 inch bolts with the chain popped over it, and we tacked them to the table. And that's kept our chain straight. We did them on all 1, 2, 3, 4. On the table, we gave them all their own guide rails. We gave them their own guide rails, and we pulled them tight over the bolts to keep them pretty taut while I was putting the whole screen together. I'm still manufacturing this. You missed the first part where I was jigging it on the table, the whole thing up with these flat stainless steel bars. By the way, this chain's all stainless. This whole thing's stainless because it's going to be an underwater screen to remove sediment. So I'm going to be tacking in these 1/4 inch stainless steel bolts onto the bottom. Just one tack so they don't fall out and they don't spin when you're tightening them down. And I'm also welding the back sides of all these. You can now watch me as I'm going to be popping in the 1/4 inch bolts into the 1/4 inch holes we punched with that iron worker into the stainless steel flat. And then I'm going to be welding up the back sides of all of these flats, as well as tacking on the 1/4 inch stainless steel bolts. Again, all stainless. We're right now using a 90% helium argon tri-mix, and it actually works pretty well as far as MIGing with stainless steel. And then we're using 035 stainless wire. 035 is the dimension of how fat your wire is coming out of the gun. All right, so we have a problem because I need to pop these bolts through, but they're rather long. And as you can see, this is flat on this big cable right here. So we're gonna have to get it up a bit. So now you can see Got putting in these spacer square tubings onto the table, gave us enough height. So then I can start popping in the bolts, and you're gonna see that now. And magically, just like that, you can see all these bolts are popped into place on this screen. And that's the magic of editing. Saves you the painstaking time of watching me do monotonous tasks. As a welder, you kind of want to plan out your pattern of where you're going to put your beads down when you're welding and how big. So let me show you right now what I already know I'm going to do. I already welded the top side of these stainless steel flat pieces, but I didn't weld the back side, so I'm just gonna like split the difference and weld just one in the middle. Boom, 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 all along here. I don't care about how long it is. I don't care if it goes end to end. I actually don't want it to go end to end. So there's a lot of room to play with where you put your bead down, but just generally in the center of the stainless flat, probably about a 1/2 inch long. As far as these heads of these bolts, I don't want to just put like one beep and then I'm done. And A, it's not as strong, and B, it can lift up and twist, because if I put a tack right here, that heat could make the bolt twist a little bit and go sideways. Where's one that's a little looser? Here's this one. You see how that wiggles? So if I put a tack over here, it could wiggle, and then it would be crooked on the bottom side. So I'm gonna do more like a little semicircle and catch two sides at least of the head of this hex bolt. That way we'll keep it a little bit more stable as the weld bead is drying, and it won't suck it in and twist it at a weird angle. I mean, you're still gonna get some warpage probably on the bolt because I'm not going all the way around or tacking one side and then going and tacking the other. That would be the best if you wanted to keep that head really flat against the piece, so underneath the threads wouldn't go from one side to the other. But I want speed, so I'm just gonna do one little semicircle arc, and that'll be it.